y'all, it's me Lauren here with Plan with Laura. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys all about my planner evolution. If you guys saw in my previous video, Darian Plans and I did a series together talking all about disc planners. Now, one of the things that she said, which was that you choose a planner for the season of life you are in, really stuck with me. In previous YouTube videos and over on my Instagram, you guys see my plan with me and you see what my spreads look like once they're all done. You know, I've added the stickers and the washi and everything, but I don't really talk as much about my decision making when going through that process. Over the past year, a lot has changed, and what my layouts look like then compared to now are significantly different. Okay, so let me get all the planners because that's what we gotta do. All right, so I got all these bad boys here with me, and they are going to help kind of go through this process. The first thing that I want to hit on is how my style really has evolved from when I first started planning to how I plan now. I think that I started the year in my Erin Condren soft-bound planner, and I was super excited for it. I love the fact that it's a bound planner. I loved how thin it was. I love that it had a full year in here. As much as I try to deny myself, I am a calendar year person, and I know that many planners like to launch around the academic year, and while the FOMO inside of me wants to start in all these new planners, my brain works in the calendar year. So when I started off in my first Erin Condren planner, I got it in July, and then I stopped, and then I grabbed this one, and my intention was to go the full year in here, and obviously that hasn't happened. So I'm excited next year to ideally stay in my Moxie Life weekly planner for a full year. When I first was in my softbound planner, I really was a task-oriented person, and I still am, but my planning style was very task-oriented. When I look back at my spreads, they really revolved around the different to-do lists that I had daily, and I soon figured out that with my work schedule and what I am doing, that I needed a different planner. And I started transitioning to using a daily planner, which has been phenomenal because I can write down from the medicines that I want to take in the morning to the laundry that needs to get done, and it gives me massive room. Now, I 100% could still do this in the softbound planner, but I found for what I wanted this planner to be, which was more of an overview of the week, really looking at some of those high level aspects, that it was really hard to sync with my to-do list. Additionally, I personally, working in a professional environment, started to feel self-conscious about having a bright planner. It was a little hard to have all the washi and the pictures and all of those aspects open on my desk for everybody to see. And so I transitioned into a daily planner that was a little bit more subtle, that still gave me the functionality that I needed, but that I felt comfortable leaving open on my desk. My weekly planner that I have now is where I pre-plan. That's the planner where I use the monthly spread. I think another really important aspect, and one that I didn't truly recognize, and I mean, hindsight is always 20/20, right? When I look back into my softbound planner, I start to see that I started to pick up my planner a lot less. I think at the time, especially when the pandemic hit in mid-March for where I live, I blamed it on the pandemic. And while I definitely think that that has completely changed how I plan and who I am as a planner, when I look back, I look to see that in the beginning of February, I started to add more pictures to my planner, and I started to add more decorative elements, which were elements that at the time I wasn't really using in my planner. I started to spend a lot more time thinking about the colors that I was using and the accents that I wanted, and those were the planner spreads that I really liked. And so my planner started to become significantly more decorative, but in that way, it lost a lot of its function, which was hard for me as someone who was taking this to work and really needed to remember some of those tasks that were happening. I think especially as I move through the planner, I would have all the intention to plan at the beginning of the week and to follow everything through, yet when it came to execution, I wasn't doing that. And again, I think at the time I used it as the pandemic just changing things up, but when I actually look at it, I think it was myself starting to say, hey, I don't really like this style that I'm planning in right now, and I need to change because I'm not reaching for this planner. I'm not getting excited by this planner. I'm not actually planning in this. And I was planning on a scrap piece of paper or something else, which is when I knew that I needed a daily planner. As everything then started to change, I started to really experiment on different layouts within my planner. I have a week that was super journal type with some to-do list. I moved forward and I did another week that had no pictures. Then I moved into a mixture that was back planning. I just started experimenting, and I thought that maybe this planner would turn into just a full memory keeper, and I was missing not having a weekly overview. So as you can see, I was just in planner turmoil, and I think that we all go through that at some point. I really kind of found my rhythm of planning my week out, but then leaving room to come back and fill things in so that it was more reflective of my life. And I think that's kind of where I hit my stride in adding those elements. But when I did fully jump back into planning, which was in July, because I took some time away from planning out my weeks, I went into it with a better understanding. And I don't think that my story is necessarily unique. I really found my planning style when I took some time away from YouTube and I took some time away from Instagram. And while I still was creating content, I wasn't sharing Plan With Me's as often, or I wasn't sharing my spreads because I was figuring out what I wanted them to be. I think that now my spreads are truly reflective of how I like to plan, of how I want to plan, and they're working in this season of life. As Jen McIntosh says, planner piece exists, but it only exists for a season. That what's working for you right now may not work in the future. And what was working for me in January was having to-do list on every single day of my planner. And that was great for then, and that was my planner piece then. But my planner piece now is having 3 different planners, and who knows what that is going to look like in a couple of months or a couple of years. But that's a little bit of my evolution and a little bit of my journey in how I plan now. So let me know in the comments down below, what has changed in your planning since you started planning to where you are now? You guys already see my videos when I have picked out my kits, I've picked out my washi, I've kind of mind mapped where I wanted to put everything, whether or not it's on paper or not. So let me take you guys through exactly how I get there. First thing I start with, and I mentioned this in my 10 different dashboard ideas for your planner. Now, one of the ones that I am using is a Plan With Me schedule. I am a sticker addict. I can proudly admit that. And a goal of mine is always to use the stickers that I have. I am someone, and please let me know that this is not only me, but I'm someone who becomes emotionally attached to my stickers. At the beginning of the year, I set my ideal Plan With Me schedule. And so I have a rough idea of what stickers I want to use and when I want to use them. Now, this really also helps me because as I think through buying new stickers, it kind of shows me like, hey, Lauren, you have 25 Christmas kits, but there are only 4 weeks in December. And so I use that as a guide to help me. Now, I like the sticky notes because I can move the dates around if things want to change. And I'm not saying that I still don't buy stickers. We're showing up authentically here. But by having the Plan With Me schedule, I can kind of map out when I'll use them. And it does help me say, like, do I need as many kits as I want? I'm gonna take you guys through this process for me this week. I looked through this binder. Now let's see what we have slated for it. And so from there, what I will do is I will go then and choose any washi that I have. And whenever I do sit down to plan, I always like to take more supplies than I'm actually probably going to need. I like my planning to be functional, but also fun. And then what I'll do is I'll look at my week. Because I've taken time to pre-plan what my week's going to look like, I'll know if it is a event-heavy week, which not really happening in the midst of a global pandemic, or if it's not. If it's an event heavy week, I will spend more time adding room for boxes on my spreads rather than adding more of those decorative elements. And I think it's worth mentioning that I keep my work schedule and my work task in a daily planner. Now, if there's something big and important going on at work, I might also mention it in my weekly planner. Because I like to add pictures in my planner, I also like to spend some time thinking through where potentially I will add a sticker. For example, this Friday, John Michael and I are going to a drive-in concert. which I'm so excited about. That's something that I'll probably take a picture of and want to document in my planner. So on Friday, instead of allotting a lot of room for individual tasks, I will probably just put down a big box and leave that space open for adding a picture there. So what I do when I have pictures is I use my Canon Ivy mini printer. I size them on an app called PicCollage, and then I print them out and use my X-Acto knife to cut them out and add them to my planner. I think through the days that I want to add pictures. I think through some reoccurring items that happen. I have new YouTube videos that go up every Monday and Thursday, so I like to add those in there. I think of any meetings or other things that may be going on in my life. I like to track TV shows that I watch, so I know that there's a new Bachelor episode coming on Monday, so I'll add a box for that. And then the rest of my week really is trial and error when I'm setting it up. I am a serial sticker mover. Even when I'm planning, I'm constantly moving stickers to see where they're best placed, where they line up, where they don't line up. And then throughout the week, because I will fill out kind of a rough shell and then leave space to go back in and add in some of those memory keeping aspects. During that time, I am still moving around stickers. So that's why I love some of my handy tools. In my planner accessories video, I talk about this palette knife. I think in that video I talked about how you can use it to cut washi, which I sometimes do. I tend to use my X-Acto knife more, but this is perfect to lift under stickers and pull them up and move them around. And then I grab any other elements that may add to this. In my Amazon's favorite book, I talked about one of these reusable sticker books that I have where I keep extra elements of stickers from kits that I'd used. And I'll definitely refer to this, especially to a page like this, which is gonna match or semi-match the spread that I chose to use this time around. So I take all of these elements, I play around with them, I try to get things to look a certain way. I have lately been really enjoying the full boxes in my planner, kind of in the middle of my week. I think another key aspect to hit about here is that since my daily planner is in an hourly format, and that's how my brain works, it really does work seeing my day from top to bottom. I don't feel the pressure in my weekly planner to have it laid out in that same way. I would be silly not to mention that not every week in my planner is perfect. There are actually a lot of times where I just scratch things off, and it's easy to not post those spreads and it's easy to not talk about those spreads. But the awesome thing about a planner is that every single week we get to turn the page to a blank page and restart. All right, y'all, and that's what I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comments below how you guys go about planning your spreads. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up. And if you aren't already, I hope you decide to hit that red subscribe button. I talk about all things planning, productivity, and how to use the resources that you have to plan today for a better tomorrow. Make sure you have your bell notifications turned on so you know exactly when I drop new videos. As always, y'all, my name is Lauren here with Plan with Laura, and I'll see y'all next time. Okay. The way it looks when I cross something out, I just kind of put another sticker over top of it.